Hey gamers, Gecko here. Considering how busy I've been this weekend, unfortunately I have had to miss out on a couple of different things. The original plan was once I was done with most of the Robokai things, I would go back and I would talk about several of the things that I know I really should talk about and look into, but I haven't had the chance to yet. And while I might have missed the Avatar beta, one thing that is still looming over my mind that I just need to talk about is BlazBlue. If you are somehow completely out of the loop, BlazBlue as a fighting game franchise has been dead in the water for a little bit. The last mainline BlazBlue game that most people consider to be like the finale of the series was BlazBlue Central Fiction all the way back in 2015, over 10 years ago. Obviously, BB Tag came out after that, and while I love BB Tag, the majority of people on the internet seem to not. Kind of understandably so, but anyway, it's generally considered amongst BlazBlue fans that Central Fiction is the last mainline fighting game. Entropy Effect's a bit weird, it's kind of divisive depending on who you ask, but I do think that Entropy Effects, kept the lights on for a little bit, kept the interest going. But there was an announcement recently to do with Central Fiction, and that is that we're getting a new character for the first time in years. Yes, Trinity is being added to the game. One of the original heroes that was in the story mode but never playable is finally being added to BlazBlue 10 years after Central Fiction came out. We haven't got too much about her, we only have a single new illustration of her that was drawn by Toshi Mishimori. We'll get onto that in a second. But there's just a couple of notes basically talking about her backstory, her place in the story, as well as her general personality. It's nothing too crazy, there's really not too much we can glean from it. As someone who's not really read all of BlazBlue's story, it's a little bit hard to say what her role is. I know she does play a role in Central Fiction, something to do with being part of Hakuman/Jin's sword, and sort of being like a moral compass for him. And obviously she was one of the original 6 heroes, which means she was one of the people who stopped the Black Beast at the start of the time loop that was seen throughout the entirety of Calamity Trigger. A very interesting pick. Honestly, thinking back on it, considering some of the characters that people said, a very safe pick, but we need to address the elephant in the room. Huh? What do we mean? What do you mean? What do you mean there's a new character? That's not right. That's not right. That's not on. It's very rare for ArcSys to go back to games that are this old and add a new character into them. Obviously, it's not unheard of. Dragon Ball FighterZ still gets updates to this day, and it's kinda close to the age of Central Fiction. But that's mostly done by Bandai nowadays. ArcSys aren't ones to go back and add characters to games that have pretty much ceased development. So, why? Why did they do this? Well, all we can really do is theorize, unfortunately. One of the big things that sort of plagued the discussion of anything new BlazBlue related was the simple fact that Toshi Mishimori, the original creator of BlazBlue, had left the company. Arc System Works seemingly has some kind of policy, but I think they just like doing this, where they ask the original creators permission if they want to have someone else develop on the franchise. Guilty Gear Strive is mostly headed by Ken Miyauchi. However, everyone in the development team who ever wants to make a change to an existing character has to talk to Daisuke and get his approval for this. With Mori no longer at Arc System Works, this wouldn't really be a thing that they could do. The Guilty Gear team have talked in interviews before about how they've just sort of gone up to Daisuke's desk and had a chat with him about what a character might be doing now, and if a change that they give would be good or not. And if Mori doesn't have a desk, you can't just do that. Especially when it came to the talks of adding Ragnar to Strive, Ken Miyauchi said that they would need to get permission from Mori. They would need to respect his wishes. And while they would love to work on a new BlazBlue or anything, it's kind of all bottlenecked at him. But this illustration was made by Mori. And he still isn't working at Arc System Works. I'm pretty sure he's still got his own company that he's doing. But maybe they've struck some kind of agreement. There's a chance that they have gone back and talked to Mori and be like, listen, BlazBlue's got a lot of interest in it right now. We want to revive CF a little bit. We want to give it more support. We want to add more characters. We want to do more things with this property. Will you help? Obviously, he's had a decent hand in this if he's making the illustration. But there's a non-zero chance that they are back on talking terms and Mori is willing to let them do things with Central Fiction. And that's sort of the first thing. Maybe Arxis are trying to revive CF. Perhaps they decided with GrandBlue sort of sunsetting, it was time to bring out a third game again. Another one that they have direct control over. And considering it has been over 10 years, you know, people have been itching for a BlazBlue game. The original tweet they put out when they announced the new character was, BlazBlue fans, we haven't forgot about you. Which, thinking back now, crazy. Absolutely crazy. There's something I just don't buy about this, honestly. CF's an amazing game. Don't get me wrong. Super fucking fun. I'm going to be playing it tonight on the Twitch. You should go over and watch that down below. We're doing bullet trials, and then I'm going to get my ass kicked by an Arakune player. Yay! But them just trying to really bring back to an old game just doesn't quite sit right with me. From a business standpoint, CF, even though it is 10 years old and has the potential to get new players coming in, can be found extremely cheaply and very easily available on secondhand markets for really cheap. So the direct money that Arxis would get through this isn't really that high, even if they do all of the support that they ever could. I think this points more to something a little bit more ambitious? A little bit more out there? Guilty Gear Strive's getting a little bit old now. We are on Season 5. The only other modern fighting game I know that's really gone to Season 5 was Street Fighter V, and that was a emergency final season that they were doing. Strive still seems like it's going to be kicking in a couple years' time from now, just from the way that they're bringing new characters in and changing the game. But it's not going to be here forever. At some point, Strive is going to have to pass the torch on to something else. And what better way to continue the fighting game cycle than to pass it not to another Guilty Gear, but to the sister franchise for a little bit. I think, genuinely, in my heart of hearts, that they are trying to increase the interest in BlazBlue because they want to make another BlazBlue game. Despite how they're generally lumped into the same basket, BlazBlue and Guilty Gear are very different franchises, with completely different philosophies of how games should play and how balance should work. So seeing a modern BlazBlue in the style of Strive, not like the gameplay style-wise, but like the visual style-wise, would be fucking awesome. Some of these sprites have been around since 2009. Like, an update to the game's visuals would just be a blessing and would look absolutely fucking amazing. It would be that same feeling that some people had when they went from the XX games to XOD. Mind-blowing insanity. Those are the two options that I can see, and I genuinely believe, the more I think about it, that we're gonna be getting something from BlazBlue. Obviously, a fighting game would make the most sense, but unfortunately, only time will tell. I will say, though, I am absolutely here for the ride. Holy shit. I'm gonna be playing BlazBlue tonight. It's going to be fun. You're going to get to see me drop a bunch of bullet combos. We did the combo trials a little bit, and there was 2 that I could never finish. And then I lost my save data because I just alt F4'd the game when I was done instead of going back to menu. So I need to redo a bunch of them. So we're going to do that. We're going to have some matches against some friends. It's going to be fun. It's going to be sick. Hopefully I'll see you down there tonight. Thank you all for watching. I'll hopefully see you all next time. Bye-bye!